15 years, no playoffs. Let me add myself to the main screen right here. 15 years, no playoffs. Jets get their asses pounded by the Miami Dolphins. Drink up, everybody. Got my bottle of water right here. It's a very somber Monday. And it's like the Jets, they lost yesterday to the Miami Dolphins, get torched. And because I mentioned that I want to tank for the draft pick and the quarterback, we're not even close. And you know what? Here's the thing. You want to learn something from this season. What have we as Jet fans learned from this season? What have we learned to say, okay, this season was meaningful? What's up to Armin? He says, Luca wants to laugh at the Jet fan base. Let me change up the theme here in terms of the graphics in green and all that. What's up to Armin? What's everybody up to? Everybody in the chat? If you guys haven't already, hit the like button, please. Hit that subscribe button as well. Do all the good stuff. More content on the way, but I was originally going to come on here and brag and say, hey, you know what? How about those culture wins? Miami, well, not Miami, excuse me, Atlanta, Cleveland, Cincinnati to an extent, although people were happy, including myself, for the sake of Mangold. Although there were two mutually exclusive events. What do we have? What as Jet fans do we have right now? Once again, 15 years, no playoffs. And more questions than answers. A coaching staff that's questionable. A roster that's largely like. Here's the thing, right? I was briefly on Talk Jets Radio as a guest coming on, as one of their call-in guests, and I brought this up, but I find this very interesting. The Cowboys were expected to be mediocre this year, with Brian Schottenheimer, who was seen as a questionable hire, including people like myself. Micah Parsons being traded away by old senile Jerry Jones. And more questions than answers. Oh, the defense is going to be horrible. Offense, they might be a bright spot, but they're not going to be some great team. They're probably going to be mediocre. Hell, I think I even predict the Giants would be better than the Cowboys this year. See if Playoff Predictor has my I should say my record predictions, because that's going to tell a whole story. And I'll explain in a second how this pertains. I had the Cowboys, I think actually 9-7-1. I was pretty damn close. Maybe I was. But regardless, thinking about the Dallas Cowboys, and the reason that I bring them up, right, is because the Cowboys virtually had no expectations, were expected to be mediocre, yet, and had a rookie coach, yet they're overperforming. Their offense is virtually unstoppable with George Pickens and Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb and all those cats, right? With a first-time head coach. Yet, us Jet fans, right now, as we speak, as we're seated down at our dinner tables, watching streams, whether it's my stream or anybody else, we are sitting here at 3-10, 15 years no playoffs, 10 years officially without a winning season, with more questions than answers. And we don't even know what the expectations are going to be for next year. Excuse me. Get some of my water. We don't even know what the expectations are going to be next year, because this team has a lot of holes, including the grand poobah, the quarterback position. You need at least 2 wide receivers, maybe more. You might need another tight end, because I don't think Ruckert's the guy. Some Jet fans are overrating him, my personal opinion. Offensive line, you're going to have to replace Josh Myers, John Simpson as well. Simpson has not played well this year, or as well as we thought. He kind of reverted back to the factory settings, the mean. Defensive line, you needed at least one defensive tackle. See, yeah, one defensive tackle because you have Harrison Phillips. I mean, Jawan Briggs is good if you want to point to one player that's improved. Jermaine Johnson, okay, he's coming back from injury. He's been all right. Will McDonald, once again, I said Jets fans vastly overrate him. Yes, he has 7 sacks in the season, but it's not spread out. It's not like, okay, well, he is getting a lot of pressures and his sack numbers are balanced out to the point where it's even production where he's a threat every game. No, this dude literally is inconsistent. He is literally the very definition of a situational pass rusher, a pass rush specialist, whatever the hell you want to say. You don't draft those guys at 15. And I said it at the time when I was on the Big Blue in the Bronx stream. Jackson Smith and Jigba was a better option. Nolan Smith was a better option because he could play immediately. Now, I don't know. I'll be fair. I don't know how he's doing, Nolan Smith. Let's look at Jackson Smith and Jigba's numbers, shall we? This season, mind you, last year, he made a Pro Bowl in his second season as a receiver with the Seahawks. Games last year, 1,130 yards, 11.3 yards per reception, 6 touchdowns. This year, he's eclipsed that. 121 targets, 89 receptions, 1,428 yards, 9 touchdowns. He could have 10, but before the end of the season. 16 yards per reception, 109.8 yards per game, 11.8 yards per target, and 15.3 yards per touch at the line of scrimmage. But I'm being told, oh, you're wrong. Oh, this. Oh, Will McDonald. And to be fair, I did want Broderick Jones. Let me just say that for the record. But the Steelers traded up for him. Not that he's doing well for the Steelers right now, but still, opportunities missed. But put aside all that nonsense. Look at the linebacker core. What do we know about Kiko Mauigoa? What do we know about Quincy Williams? He's going to be gone next year. What do we know about Jamin Sherwood? He's a complete enigma, or whatever you want to say. He has done a complete 180. 2023 started showing signs of improvement. 2024 leads the team in tackles. 2025, he sucks. He's terrible. And the Jets might, maybe, if it's financially feasible, might have to cut him next year. I say the word might because we don't know, if it's financially feasible. Yes, he's 6th in the NFL in tackles. But what else? Is he a great coverage defender? No. Is Quincy Williams picking up the slack? No. Look at cornerback. Okay. Jarvis Brownlee, you largely don't know what he is, and I'm going to be honest, I haven't seen a lot of good penalties, missed tackles. Azariah Thomas, you see bits and pieces. Brandon Stevens, okay, you might see some bits and pieces, but that's all we have. There's no consistency. Safety position, Malachi Moore, okay, shows you some good. Safety, the other safety, Tony Adams, Andre Cisco, they're going to be gone next year. You're going to need at least one safety. So if we do the math defensively, one safety, one linebacker, maybe 2. You need a whole pass rush. You need two defensive ends. I don't know if Braden McGregor is a free agent next year. But it's not like he's good enough to where he can hold down a roster spot. I don't think he's that good. The only reason, in my opinion, that the Jets are holding him to a roster spot is because they just don't have enough talent they're trying to evaluate. I don't think he's that good. I don't. Look up his free agency status on my phone because if I do it on my laptop, it's not going to be as great. Restricted free agent 2027. So the Jets could cut him next year if they wanted, but he's an RFA in 27, so it doesn't mean much of anything. Michael Clemens is going to be gone next year, so you need a whole backup pass rush. Yes, Jawan Briggs is there. Mozzie Smith, I don't see him as a potential guy. I don't see him as a potential piece on this defense. I think he was just a throw-in. Not think, he was. You need 2 defensive ends. You need 1 rotation. Arguably, you should be demoting Will McDonald to rotational defensive end. That's the truth. So you need at least 4 pieces probably on defense. Two defensive ends, a defensive tackle. That's actually 3. You could argue you also need a defensive tackle in the backup defensive line rotation because you have Harrison Phillips. You need 1 defensive tackle next to him. Then you have Juwan Briggs. You need a defensive tackle next to him. So that's 2 edge rushers, 2 defensive tackles. You move to the linebackers, you need 1. That's 5 players right there. You need a safety. That's 6 players right there. Jarvis Bradley, who knows? You might need a nickel corner. That's 7 players you need on defense. Offense, I just did the 7 on defense. Need at least 1 tight end. I don't think Jeremy Ruckert's a tight end too. So that's 8. You need a left guard and a center. That's 10. You need at least 1 or 2 wide receivers. I doubt you're gonna make a big splash move in free agency for wide receivers. They hardly work out. If you got a guy like Keelan Allen, okay, fine. As just a veteran guy, sure, but don't give him a major role per se. What did I just list off? 10, 12. You might need a running back in case Breece Hall doesn't come back. That's 13. And you also need a backup veteran quarterback. You have 14. You need 14 players. 14 players out of 22. Some dumbass named Nick. Yes. I saw that. Deshaun Watson. Yep, I know. I was there, Armand. I was there. That is not a bright suggestion whatsoever. They should consider trading both McDonald and Jermaine Johnson. They should, if it was down to a second-round pick, they should have traded him at the deadline. If it was down to a second or third-round pick, I would have traded him. That's what I would have done. I don't view Will McDonald highly at all. Do they pick up his option at all? He's not that good of a player. People vastly overrate him. Roster does need a cleaning. And that's what they could have done this year. If you had the right, for the offensive side of the ball, if you had the right quarterback, and I'm not saying it was Aaron Rodgers or anything like that. I think it was the right decision to let go of Aaron Rodgers. I still think it was, and that's not being stubborn. The Steelers are largely what they were last year. They're kind of the same team. They're going to be the 9-8 brigade, barely sneak into the playoffs. It's not like Rodgers vastly improved them, in my personal opinion. But just looking at the overall team and the quarterback, they badly messed up by evaluating Justin Fields, not even just as the franchise guy, but as a guy who could evaluate the roster on the offense this year. If it was Tyrod and Jameis, you would have a better answer. Except the Jets, with their inexperienced staff, first-time offensive coordinator, their quarterback coach, who really doesn't have a good resume, more known as a running back coach, and a first-time head coach, all wanted to mold Justin Fields as this new quarterback, as the quarterback who can run their offense. And it massively blew up in their face. And it's not like a one-year thing. If it was, not many people would care. Sure. But next year, Justin Fields, let's go over the cap. I'm going to read the numbers. Over the cap. I mentioned this before. Justin Fields, he's going to be very difficult to cut next year. Very difficult. Because next year, 2026, you cut him pre-June 1st, $22 million in dead money, $1 million in savings. You cut him post-June 1st, you have $13 million in dead money, and 10 million in savings. How much are you really saving? Trade pre-June 1st. I don't know who in their right mind would trade Justin Fields. $12 million in dead money and 11 million in cap savings. Trade post June 1st, you're saving $20 million and 3 million in terms of dead money. So again, I don't know who in their right mind would trade for Justin Fields, excuse me. I also say, quote, that also the Jets have 1, 2, 3, 4 void years. I hate those void years. 4 void years after he gets cut or after his final year, his final contract year in 26. It's not even about the 20 million average annual value. It's about also the $30 million guaranteed. What a horrible short-term contract. If it was a thing where it was a 5-year deal, that's one thing. But to screw up a 2-year contract is as badly as you have, that's a failure. And this is on player evaluation. Aaron Glenn, Darren Muji, the pro scouting staff. And I admit, as I said, I was a Fields guy. Did I prefer him over Jameis? No. I wanted somebody to run the offense and evaluate the players from here on out. And we all knew, listen, let's not be silly. We knew the Jets weren't going to win this year, but they could have done a better job evaluating the quarterback position. And now next year, there's fans who are debating, do we trade back? Do we trade up? Do we stay pat? Regarding this whole quarterback nonsense, what do we do? Because the Jets have a lot of holes. And one of their holes is, ta-da, quarterback. They need a quarterback. That's the unfortunate part. We won 3 games with 2 quarterbacks who are not going to be here next year. The largest anomaly performances you could have had. Listen, the special teams unit's been very good this year. Isaiah Williams, he has emerged as a returner after his week 4 slip-ups. Austin McNamara is in top 5 or top 6 in Pro Bowl votes for punters, and I don't blame anybody for voting for him. He's been phenomenal. Nick Folk has missed 1 field goal the entire season. Aside from special teams, what unit are you feeling good about heading into next year? Someone tell me. Defense, I mentioned all the holes. And is Aaron Glenn going to bring back Steve Wilks? Is he going to go hire a defensive coordinator from the outside? If Jim Schwartz shakes free, if Jim Leonard shakes free, if there's somebody I'm probably not naming, if Wink Martindale, but I think you would have to change your base defense for Wink Martindale to come here. Defense, there's little to no hope. You got your big bad contracts out of the way with Sauce and Quinnen. What else? What else is there? And I'm not saying Quinnen or Sauce didn't underperform. They did to the amount of their contracts. But what do you have? Can you consistently say about the defense that this player is definitely a chess piece to build around? Talk about the offense. Who is that chess piece to build around besides Garrett Wilson? Maybe Breece Hall. My personal opinion, I wouldn't pay him. I'm going to be the complete anomaly, the outlier in the fan base. I do not think the Jets should pay Breece Hall. He's talented. I don't think, me personally, I don't think he wants to come back here because of all the losing, number 1, number 2. I think he's a little overrated. Just a tad. Dude has not hit 1,000 yards once in his career. And people are citing him as this great talent. Well, if he was so great, why is he not better than Jonathan Taylor or Saquon or Christian McCaffrey? Hell, even Derrick Henry. Is he better than all those guys? No. The answer is no. Let's look at the top rushers. Is he better than James Cook? I mean, I would say he's more talented than James Cook, maybe. B. John, Jameer Gibbs, they've tapped their potential just a little bit. Kyron Williams, I mean, has had a better career this far. And I'm not saying I regret the draft pick because I thought it was very ballsy for the Jets to go in the second round to select their running back. I thought they were just going to be okay with Michael Carter. But I don't think Brees has tapped his potential yet, and that's an issue. That's why I think he's partially overrated by this fan base. Are you paying him next year $12 million, possibly over 3 years, $36 million in total with guarantees? Are you franchise tagging him next year? Are you transitioning tagging him to the point where you're going to have to trade him? I don't know. Now, if you guys give me 1 second, I'm just going to grab my charger. Coming back. Nearly fell there. I'm not for signing Brees Hall, although the Jets put themselves in a conundrum where they kind of have to re-sign him because they didn't trade him at the deadline. They didn't trade him for that fourth round pick. What's the difference? What's the major difference between a third and a fourth round pick? Someone tell me. Because I don't think there is a major difference, right? Chiefs offered a fourth, Jets wanted a third. What's the difference? It's not like you're talking about a second and a fifth. That's not a scenario. That's not whatsoever a huge difference. So now you're going to have Brees Hall walk next year. And that'll be that. Garrett Wilson will be the only consistent building piece. And I'm talking about skill position players. Because the offensive line, yes, you have Fashanu, you have Armand Bembou, who's had a good year largely as a rookie. Joe Tippmann's had a very good year as well. But you have two pieces possibly leaving in free agency in terms of free agents for offensive line. Wide receivers. Garrett Wilson's the only guy who's a keeper, besides maybe A.D. Mitchell. And John Mechie's probably depth at this point because neither really Mitchell or Mechie showed out yesterday. Mitchell had a good game against the Falcons, but where's the consistency, right? For somebody who wants to be featured in the offense. And I'm not saying the guy isn't talented, but we just need the consistency to prove that he is a future building block. Wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. That's what the Jets need, like wide receivers next year. I can't even talk. But it's hard. It's very, very hard to establish the real building blocks. All you have is a bunch of maybes. Okay, Juwan Briggs, can he ascend next year? Sure. That's all you have. It's more questions than answers, and you don't even know what the expectations are going to be for next year because this year was a wash. This year was a wash and a half. You really didn't learn anything this year if you think about it. You just tore down the roster. You signed Justin Fields to learn nothing. Garrett Wilson's still here. Is there anything else you learned? Did you learn anything about Brees Hall? Did you learn anything about the style of offense the Jets want to run? Because they botched that. They did. Did you learn anything about the defense? Did you see any creative scheming? Did you see any creativity overall? No. Offensively, you'll see bits and pieces. But we're not featuring Brees Hall or Mason Taylor enough. You're not. And that is a huge, huge problem. Because next year, and when I'm saying this, and what I'm saying is, Next year would, in my opinion, if this wasn't such a conundrum, next year should be the year where the Jets take that leap. They either get into the playoffs completely, or they're at 500 for the first time in what seems like 10 years. I was about to say 500 years. It does feel like that though. But next year, what's the expectation if you win like 3, 4 games this year? 6, 7 wins? And I'm no, I'm not doing that 6, 7 nonsense. But what's the expectation next year? Because it's this is not like in the NFL today, it should not be a slow, gradual ladder. You've seen teams take leaps in year 2 to make the playoffs, right? You could go as far back as 2017 when the Rams in 2016 had Jeff Fisher and a rookie Jared Goff. 2017, McVay's coming in and they make the playoffs for the first time in how many years? I don't know. I literally do not know. Because I understand that Glenn's coming back next year. And I know fans want him fired, like Vinny if he ever shows up in the chat, or at least if he does. Do we have an answer on him? Because that's what I wanted to figure out this year. Do we have an answer on our head coach? Do we have an answer at the quarterback position? Do we know if we have a quarterback? Do we know if we have a head coach? And we're going to go into next year, draft a quarterback without knowing who our head coach, what our head coach is, or what the offensive system is, or the defense, or anything like that. We just don't know because there's no consistency whatsoever. So that's the biggest issue we're dealing with right now. They might to help his trade value, sure. I don't know. I honestly don't know anymore with this team. It's hella frustrating because as much as I was for the tank and all this, I don't want to root for the tank. I want to be confident that the Jets are going to win games and it's going to be sustainable for the next year. My biggest problem with these fans, and I was reading through the article last week with Michael Nania, and listen, everybody has a right to their opinion, but yet fans saying, well, it doesn't matter about draft position. Oh, well, they were bringing the Dan Campbell and Kyle Shanahan comparisons based on these analytics. Okay, but are the Jets going to follow this up next year with some wins? We don't know. So it's hard to make a predicament or prediction and say, this will be just like Dan Campbell or Kyle Shanahan. Just in terms of point differential, all these different things. You only have statistics to back it up. You don't even have the Jets statistics for next year because we're not even there yet. So we can't predict that these are meaningful wins. We can only predict that these are meaningless wins because of past. How did those 2021 culture wins work out? Yes, we had Zach Wilson as our quarterback, and he was supposed to be the future. How did that 2023 win against the Patriots, against the Commanders, against the Texans, how did those work out? Because last time I checked, we gave our division rival their starting quarterback, their franchise quarterback, in Drake May. How's that working out for us? They have a franchise quarterback, and we don't. Jaden Daniels, I know he was hurt like hell this year, but even last year, they had a franchise quarterback. We don't. The Patriots have a winning culture, and we don't. The Patriots have a winning record or top of the division, and we are not. Commanders made the playoffs last year, and we did not, with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. The Patriots have a coach. The Patriots have a whole roster. The Bills, despite being second place, and they did win yesterday, obviously, versus the Cincinnati Bengals. They're on the upscale. They're up on the upwards trend, and we are not. We are just sitting at rock bottom. And we're not even rock bottom. We're not fully bottom of the league because we're not at number one. We're at seventh overall. Our loss yesterday didn't do crap for us in terms of draft position. Nothing. Got the Raiders, the Browns, the Giants, the Saints, the Commanders, all ahead of us. All ahead of us. I'm going to pull it up on my phone. Tankathon. Giants, Titans, Giants, Raiders, Titans, Browns, Saints, Commanders, Jets. At least 2 to 3 teams that'll be picking a quarterback ahead of us. And what's worse is we have a lot of holes. So we're going to be forced into this predicament where we're either debating three things. As I said earlier, standing pat, trading up with the other first round pick, or trading down for more picks because we have so many holes. And are we confident that this staff can coach those players who are going to be drafted? Now, here's the next question, right? Have 90 million something on in free agency money. Who wants to come here? Who wants to come to play for the New York Jets? Who? Is it going to be Mike Evans, Tyler Linderbaum? Any of those guys? Any notable free agents want to play for the Jets? The answer, I don't think is yes. Jacoby Myers. Jets need a wide receiver too. You ask him, say, hey, you want to come to our organization? He'll be like, I just came out of Jacksonville. They're probably going to make the playoffs, by the way. Just came from Jacksonville. Why would I want to leave? Why would Jacoby Myers want to leave Jacksonville? Let's look at the others. Trey Hendrickson, although he is 31 and he's out for the year, why would he want to come here? Why would I'm going to go down the list: Deebo Samuel, Braden Smith, Joel Bitonio, although he's 34, Kyle Tucker, Wyatt Teller. I mean, free agency at large isn't great, but still. What is so appealing about the New York Jets? What is so appealing? Because I don't see it. What winning culture is in place? How do we know that this coaching staff has a formula for winning? How do we know that the Jets are going to be good next year? So many how do we knows. So many just more questions than answers. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but it's the same old thing over and over again because we're doing the same dance over and over again. And I'm sick of it. I am. I'm sick of wanting my team to tank just to get the right quarterback. I'm sick and tired of winning meaningless games for culture wins that don't pan out. I'm sick of watching losing seasons over and over again. I'm sick of even this year. I didn't really have hope, but they shot my expectations down even more. I thought we were like, okay, we'll see some moments where this is a well-coached team. Where? Aaron Glenn could be now accountable as he wants, but he could talk the talk, but he's not walking the walk. I don't care that he's a former Jet. I don't care about anything else. Next year is going to be a huge year for the Jets. It is not a day of reckoning, a year of reckoning. Will the Jets take a step up next year? My gut says no. Although we don't know who they're going to add next year. They could splurge in free agency. They could decide to go to bargain basement shopping. They could trade some of their picks for notable players. It's just as simple of we're not even here's the thing. I was going to say we're in purgatory. We're not. We're lower than purgatory. Because for in order to be in purgatory, you have to be in the middle. You have to be mediocre. We're not even mediocre. We are just bottom of the barrel trash. Bottom of the basement trash. And we don't know which way is up or down. We don't know if we're still going down. I think we are. Or we're just remaining in the same spot. People, please feel free to sound off in the comments. I don't want to keep repeating the same thing, but some of this bears repeating because for some reason some fans just don't get it. Talking about meaningless wins or culture wins last week, it sucks. It absolutely sucks being a Jet fan right now. Also, feel free to share this out, people. But I don't know. It's sad. It's incredibly sad. And I see that Connor Rogers recently said on the Badlands show, I don't think the Jets are good enough right now to trade their war chest of draft picks for any quarterback and think he can come in here and save everything. It's fair. It's fair. But the Jets also did this to themselves by winning meaningless games. You don't want to put the quarterback, whether it's Mendoza, Simpson, or Moore, in the same scenario as Sam, Zach, or Gino. I'd say Zach had the best situation out of all of them. Not that it was incredibly ideal, but he had talent. He just sucked. Darnold, the Jets traded up. And the biggest risk with trading up is not filling holes, not properly building around your quarterback. I mean, Gino wasn't even supposed to start, but he did. The Jets are also unwatchable. So, I don't know. And here's the thing with the Jets, right? Let's look up their schedule. They have the Jaguars, a loss. They have the Saints, which could possibly be a win in New Orleans. They have the Patriots at home, which the Patriots will likely try to lock up the division. And the Bills. 4 more games left, which is also a sigh of relief because this has been one long, dreadful season. It has. It has. Every year, I feel like the Jets get more draining, or they drain their fans more, and more. It's like they beat the hell because all you have is hypotheticals, proven answers. Mendoza is that guy. But the problem is, or as of right now, he's that guy. The problem is the Jets lost out on it, or are probably going to lose out on him, or going to have to trade a bunch of draft capital to go up and get him because the Jets decided to win meaningless games. And I get it. I completely get it. I said the team would win 5 games this year with the ability to win 7. If the wins were more spread out, I would completely understand the want to win, to actually build the culture. And if you had a quarterback, but the Jets do not. What's the plan next year? Do you go into free agency signing all defense and drafting all offense? I mean, I just don't know. Let's look at the 2026 NFL. I think they have like a draft score or something like that. Draft pick values chart. There we go. Because I know people are starting to look at that as well. Because the Giants have technically number 1. It's worth 3,000. The Jets at number 7 is worth 1,500. So essentially, the Jets would need a similar pick of high value to go up there and grab their quarterback, or at least try to match that, right? Because the Colts right now, let's pull up Tankathon. The Colts pick, and it's going to go down even further because Daniel Jones is out for the year. Ironically, they're working out Philip Rivers. Colts are at 18. The 18th overall pick is worth about 900 points. So you do the math, you got about 2,400. Then you have to add another 600, just doing the analytical thing. You have to likely use one of your seconds. See if the Jets have a third. I think they do. And probably a third or a fourth. Or use a pick from next year to justify it. So, and that's my biggest fear. Like, it's a positive that the Jets have another first round pick, but it's also a negative because you want to use that high value first round pick for a playmaker offensively. You want a wide receiver. Like what's the guy's name? Like Jordan Tyson's gonna be drafted too high, or the Jets will probably pass on him early on because he's gonna be selected really high in the draft. Carnell Tate's gonna be in the top 5, top 6. There's another receiver I'm missing. There's another receiver I'm missing, and it's blowing my mind. Jets, NFL 2026 NFL draft. I think he's from Ohio State. Wide receiver prospects. I mean, could be Mekhi Lemon, could be Chris Brazell, but I mean, hell, if you want with that second first round pick, you could draft Jordan Love. You could. There's going to be guys. There's going to be wide receivers. Do you trade back? Do you trade up? Do you trade back with the Colts pick? If you don't have a wide receiver you like there, I don't know. I don't know because my biggest fear with trading up is that the Jets do not have enough to build around their quarterback. If they get usurped in a trade with the team that they're trading up with, like the Giants or the Titans, how is that not different than the same situation they put Geno or Sam in? And once again, the Jets did it to themselves by winning meaningless games, and I get it. Coaches are not going to lose, players are not going to lose, all that shit. Did the Browns win mean much at the end of the day? Did the Falcons win mean much? Because you got 2 quarterbacks that you won with who are not going to be here next year. Large amount of players who will not be here next year. Even depth guys, Tuafeli, Rucker, go down the list. Tony Adams, Quincy Williams, Brees Hall possibly, John Simpson, Josh Myers, Alan Lazard, Josh Reynolds, Tyler Johnson. It's a state of despair. It's a state of absolutely no hope. Absolutely none. So it's so tough right now. And as I said, I apologize for coming insanely off negative, but I don't know what Jet fan out there, and I'd love to debate with them or conversate objectively with them and say, what hope do you have in this team next year? What do you know about this coach next year that's going to be good? What do you know about this GM that's going to be good next year? Is he going to be savvy enough to pull off a trade where he's not heisted by another team in a trade up, trade down scenario? It's all a bunch of unknowns. That's the issue. That's what it is. Embarrassing. And yes, it's great. We traded Sauce Gardner for 2 first-round picks. Great. We traded Quinn Williams for a second-round pick and a first-round pick the year after. We don't even know what those picks are going to turn out to. Yes, Darren Muji. Good trade so far. Free agency, not so much. I mean, Brandon Stevens, I guess, has been okay. Mid. I don't think he's worth the contract. Tony Adams should have been cut. Xavier Gibson should have been cut the day that Muji took office. Justin Fields should have never happened. I mean, Josh Myers has been okay. Tuafeli's been depth. Who right now, in all honesty, what free agent signing has what free agent on the Jets has exceeded their AAV value? Because I can't find one. That's the bad news. I cannot find a guy who's exceeded their value. What's that bot from Hopeball as well? I legitimately have no answers for next year, and it's not like I want to be this guy. I don't know. I don't know. Because we're essentially in almost the same spot as last year, right? It's like we've been 2 years in the same spot. Don't know who the quarterback is, unsure of the head coach, coaching staff, and this all comes with the territory. You decide to cheap out on a head coach, you don't get a proven one in here. You want to keep around coaches for way too long. It all trickles down. 2027, you want to draft a quarterback, that's fine. But just know that this team needs to win next year. If they're going to draft a quarterback in 2027, I'm not saying make the playoffs or even win the division. I'm saying to have a damn winning season next year, just so Glenn and Muji can keep their jobs, to be able to draft that quarterback and see that through the end. To see their quarterback, develop or undevelop. Where's the light at the end of the tunnel? Because I don't see it. Defense needs an overhaul. You might have good OC. There is protection. The defense had Joe Caparosa made a good point. 0 interceptions, 1 forced fumble in 13 games. Let's see if I can do that. 13 games, 1 interception, 1 takeaway. Where's the hope? For pretty much anything, where is the hope? It sucks. Absolutely sucks. And is it even attractive to go to games next year? Because nobody knows. I mean, you want to look at pictures from Dolphins fans taking pictures and Jet fans, and look at the stadium. Who's going to see the Jets next year? Who? Sure as hell ain't me. Who's going to see the Jets next year? Who's going to say, I want to go to that crappy ass MetLife Stadium and I want to go see the Jets play winning football? I don't think there's anyone in their right mind who would want to go see the Jets play football next year, unless there's some dramatic turnaround or chain of events, like they trade for like a Joe Burrow, which is not going to happen, or they trade for some quarterback out of the blue, like a Jalen Hurts, and then they somehow magically fill the rest of the holes or most of them, where they could be a winning team. Because right now, what is the selling point? Not just for fans, I mean, not just for free agents, but for fans as well. Whose jersey you buying next year? Because right now, I haven't bought a jersey in years. I left my jerseys in New York, and I don't want to wear them. I don't want to bring them down here. What's the purpose? The only one I want to wear is Mangold, for obvious reasons. But what is the selling point for the Jets next year? It's all hypotheticals, and that's what it's all contrived. That's my biggest issue with the Jets. Every possible hope you could have is contrived. There's no genuine hope. It's all manufactured. All the optimism is manufactured. It's sad. It's sad. We're getting clowned on by our division rivals. We're getting clowned on by the rest of the NFL. It sucks. It absolutely sucks being a Jet fan right now. Because we all wish there were And the thing with the whole tanking, non-tanking thing was we all see paths to victory or to hope or to some sort of achievement. We just have different viewpoints. But right now, the way I see it, I'd be curious to see if other content creators think so. Not feeling it. Not feeling the hopes, not feeling the vibes. Maybe next year they splurge on a couple of players. Maybe they trade for a veteran quarterback. Maybe they draft a highly guarded wide receiver like Carnell Tate out of Ohio State. Maybe they build a somewhat decent defense. Maybe they actually find their offensive identity. I've got no hope, and I've got no answers. But I've been going for about 50 minutes. If you guys haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe, turn on notification bells so when I live or drop a new video. I think I'm going to wrap it here. It's about 50 minutes. I don't want to keep ranting. See, it's a very empty night here in the chat. Next week, pretty much expect the same. The Jets will probably lose the Jags, so on and so forth. It sounds repetitive, but it's sad. It's sad what we were in, and all we could do is hope for next year. If you guys already hit the like button, share the links down below, share this out to your dog, your family, your friends, the homeless guy on the street, your neighbor, whoever you please. I appreciate everybody's support regardless. I'm going to call it a night. Talk to y'all later. Peace.